Are you doing keto perfectly, cutting carbs, skipping snacks, eating healthy fats, and still watching the scale move slower than your husband's, your friends, or the version of yourself from 10 years ago? Here's what I want you to understand right away. For many women, slower weight loss on keto is not a discipline problem. It is often a hormone communication problem. Inside a woman's body, fat loss is not controlled by insulin alone. Insulin matters, absolutely. But estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, thyroid hormones, sleep, liver function, and even where you are in your monthly cycle can change how your body responds to low-carb eating. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your metabolism like a thermostat. Keto can turn down insulin and help your body access stored fat. But hormones are the wiring behind the wall. If the wiring is stressed, inflamed, underfed, underslept, or confused by years of blood sugar swings, the thermostat may not respond the way you expect. What the research shows is that women's appetite, energy intake, and metabolic needs can shift across the menstrual cycle, especially in the luteal phase, the days after ovulation when progesterone rises. Research also shows that ketogenic diets may improve insulin resistance and reproductive hormone patterns in some women with PCOS, but results vary, and thyroid signaling may also shift during strict low-carb dieting. So today, we are not going to shame your body. We are going to decode it. You'll learn why women may need a modified keto approach when a little more healthy carbohydrate can actually support hormones, and how to use keto as a tool, not a punishment. And if this kind of calm, science-based health teaching is helpful for you, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you understand your body and work with it, not against it. Before we go deeper, let's map the whole picture. Because once you understand the pattern, keto becomes much easier to personalize. Here are the 6 science-backed insights we're going to break down. First, women do not lose weight slower because keto doesn't work for them. Many women are more hormonally responsive to stress, sleep loss, undereating, and aggressive carb restriction. Keto lowers insulin, but your body still has to feel safe enough to release stored energy. Second, estrogen changes how your body handles insulin and fat storage. When estrogen is balanced, it can support better insulin sensitivity and healthier fat distribution. But during perimenopause and menopause, estrogen shifts may make belly fat, cravings, and blood sugar swings more noticeable. Third, progesterone can increase hunger and change cravings before your period. Research on menstrual cycle energy intake shows that some women naturally eat more in the luteal phase, which is the phase after ovulation and before bleeding begins. That does not mean willpower disappeared. It means your biology is changing fuel demand. Fourth, very strict keto may lower active thyroid hormone in some people. This does not always mean thyroid disease, but it can mean the body is adapting to low carbohydrate intake, lower calories, or stress. For some women, especially those who feel cold, tired, constipated, or stuck, a modified keto plan may work better than zero carb harder. Fifth, women with insulin resistance or PCOS may respond very well to keto, but the plan still needs to be individualized. Recent systematic reviews and meta-analyses suggest ketogenic diets may improve weight, insulin resistance, and some hormonal markers in women with PCOS, but this does not mean every woman should follow the same version forever. Sixth, cycle-based eating can make keto more sustainable. Instead of forcing the same carb level every day of the month, many women do better with a rhythm. Lower carb during parts of the cycle when energy is stable, and slightly more strategic carbs around higher stress days, hard workouts, poor sleep, or the late luteal phase. So the goal is not to abandon keto. The goal is to stop using a male-centered, rigid version of keto and start using a hormone-aware version of keto. Because for women, the question is not simply, how low can I push my carbs? The better question is, what fuel strategy helps my insulin, thyroid, cycle, liver, sleep, mood, and metabolism all work together? That is where real, sustainable fat loss begins. Here's what's really going on inside your body when keto works slower for women. Most people are taught that keto is only about one thing: Lower the carbs, lower insulin, burn more fat. And that is partly true. Insulin is a major storage hormone. When insulin stays high, your body has a harder time accessing stored fat. That is why reducing sugar, refined starch, and constant snacking can be so powerful. But for women, insulin is not working alone. Think of insulin like the key that opens the fat storage door. But estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, and thyroid hormones are like the security system around the building. Even if the key is working, the whole system still has to give permission. Estrogen, for example, is closely connected with insulin sensitivity and where the body stores fat. When estrogen is more balanced, many women tend to handle glucose better and store fat in a healthier pattern. But as estrogen fluctuates before the period, during perimenopause or after menopause, the body may shift toward more belly fat, more cravings, and more blood sugar instability. This is one reason a woman can eat the same keto meal at age 35 and respond differently at 52. The food did not magically change. The hormone environment changed. Reviews on estrogen and adipose tissue show that menopause-related estrogen decline is linked with a shift toward more abdominal fat and metabolic dysfunction. Now add progesterone. After ovulation, progesterone rises. This is the luteal phase, the week or two before your period. During this phase, some women notice more hunger, lower stress tolerance, poorer sleep, stronger cravings, or a feeling that keto suddenly got harder. That is not weakness. That is physiology. A 2025 systematic review and meta-analysis in nutrition reviews found that energy intake may differ across the menstrual cycle, with some evidence showing higher intake in the luteal phase compared with the follicular phase, although findings vary between studies. So the first practical rule is this: do not judge your entire keto plan by one hormonal week. Track your cycle, sleep, hunger, cravings, workouts, and weight trends. Look at the pattern over 4 to 8 weeks, not just one morning on the scale. And if this is helping you understand your body instead of blaming it, consider subscribing. I post practical metabolic health lessons like this every day so you can make better decisions with less confusion. A hormone-aware keto plan starts with awareness. Before you change the diet, study the signal. Now let's talk about estrogen, because this is one of the biggest reasons women may notice keto changing with age. Estrogen is not just a reproductive hormone. It also talks to your fat cells, your muscles, your liver, and your insulin receptors. When estrogen is in a healthier rhythm, the body often handles glucose better, stores fat in a more protective pattern, and keeps inflammation lower. But when estrogen starts shifting, especially in perimenopause and menopause, the body may become more insulin resistant, even if your food choices have not changed very much. Let me explain this with a simple whiteboard picture. Imagine 2 storage closets in the body. One closet is under the skin around the hips, thighs, and buttocks. The other closet is deep in the abdomen around the organs. Estrogen tends to help women store more fat in the safer closet, under the skin. But when estrogen declines, more fat can shift toward the abdominal closet. That deeper belly fat is more metabolically active. It sends out inflammatory signals and free fatty acids that can interfere with insulin signaling. This is why a woman may say, "I'm eating the same way I always did, but now the weight is going straight to my middle." She is not imagining it. Current research continues to show that estrogen plays an important role in adipose tissue function, insulin sensitivity, and menopause-related shifts toward visceral fat. A 2025 review in Nature Reviews Endocrinology discusses how estrogen signaling affects adipose tissue health, and newer research also connects postmenopausal fat redistribution with higher risk of insulin resistance and metabolic dysfunction. So what do you do? For women in perimenopause or menopause, keto should not just be more fat and fewer carbs. It should be protein-forward, mineral-rich, fiber-rich, and muscle-supportive. Start with this simple plate: a palm and a half of protein, 2 cups of non-starchy vegetables, 1 to 2 thumbs of healthy fat, and optional slow carbs on strategic days. That might be eggs with avocado and sautéed greens, salmon with broccoli and olive oil, chicken with a large salad and pumpkin seeds. Then add strength training 2 to 4 times per week. Muscle is not just for shape. Muscle is one of the biggest glucose disposal organs in the body. More muscle means better insulin sensitivity, better aging, and often better results from keto. So if estrogen is shifting, the answer is not to punish your body with fewer calories. The answer is to build a stronger metabolic system. Now we need to talk about the week when many women feel like keto suddenly stops working, the luteal phase. This is the phase after ovulation and before your period. Progesterone rises, body temperature can rise slightly, digestion may slow down, sleep may change, and cravings can become stronger. Some women feel calm and steady. Others feel hungrier, more emotional, more tired, or more drawn to chocolate, bread, or salty foods. And here's what's really going on inside your body. Progesterone is preparing the body for the possibility of pregnancy. Even if you are not trying to get pregnant, your body still runs that program every month. It may increase energy demand, change fluid balance, and make the nervous system more sensitive to stress. So when you force the exact same strict keto plan every single day of the month, your body may push back. Research on menstrual cycle food intake is not perfect, but a 2025 systematic review and meta-analysis in Nutrition Reviews found evidence that energy intake may be higher in the luteal phase than the follicular phase in some studies. Another recent study also looked at appetite, resting metabolic rate, and dietary intake across different cycle phases, showing that this area is actively being studied because women's metabolism is not static across the month. This is where modified keto becomes powerful. Instead of saying, I failed because I wanted carbs, ask, is my body asking for a smarter fuel signal? Here is a simple cycle-based keto approach. During the follicular phase, which is after your period and before ovulation, many women do well with cleaner, lower-carb keto. Protein, healthy fats, leafy greens, eggs, fish, meat, olive oil, avocado, and cruciferous vegetables. During the late luteal phase, about 5 to 7 days before your period, consider adding a small serving of slow carbohydrate with dinner. Not cake, not cookies. Think half a sweet potato, lentils, berries with Greek yogurt, cooked carrots, squash, or a small portion of quinoa if you tolerate it. This can support sleep, serotonin, thyroid signaling, training recovery, and adherence. The goal is not to leave keto forever. The goal is to prevent your body from reading strict restriction as stress. And if this makes sense, subscribe so you can keep learning how to work with your metabolism instead of fighting it. For many women, the winning strategy is not stricter keto, it is smarter keto. Now let's bring in the thyroid, because this is where many women get confused. The thyroid is like the metabolic thermostat of the body. It helps regulate energy, body temperature, bowel movements, heart rate, and how fast your cells use fuel. But here is the important part. Your thyroid does not work in isolation. It listens to the rest of the body. If calories are too low, carbs are too low, sleep is poor, stress is high, and workouts are intense, the thyroid may receive one message: energy is scarce, slow things down. That does not always mean you damaged your thyroid, but it can mean your body is adapting. Here's what the research shows. In a randomized crossover trial published in PLOS One, healthy adults followed a ketogenic diet and a high-carbohydrate, low-fat diet in separate phases. After the ketogenic phase, T3, the more active thyroid hormone, was significantly lower, while TSH did not significantly change and thyroid values stayed within the normal range. The researchers also found no drop in resting metabolic rate during that short trial. So we have to be precise. Lower T3 on keto is not automatically a thyroid disease diagnosis. But for a woman who already feels cold, exhausted, constipated, anxious, sleepless, or stuck, it is a signal to pay attention. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. T4 is like stored inventory in a warehouse. T3 is the product actually delivered to the cells. Your body has to convert T4 into T3. That conversion depends on enough energy, enough minerals, healthy liver function, lower inflammation, and a nervous system that does not feel constantly threatened. This is why some women do worse when they combine strict keto, long fasting, hard workouts, and too little protein. They are not just lowering insulin, they may be lowering the body's sense of safety. A modified keto approach protects the thyroid signal. Start with enough protein at each meal. Add minerals like sodium, magnesium, potassium-rich vegetables, selenium from eggs or Brazil nuts, iodine from seafood or iodized salt if appropriate, and zinc from meat or pumpkin seeds. Do not fast aggressively if your sleep cycle or energy is getting worse. And once or twice a week, especially around hard training or the late luteal phase, consider a small serving of slow carbohydrate at dinner. Not sugar, not a binge, a signal. The goal is simple: low enough carb to improve insulin, but nourished enough to protect hormones. Now let's make this practical. What does modified keto actually look like for a woman? Because modified keto does not mean eat carbs all day and hope for the best. It means you are still controlling insulin, still prioritizing whole foods, still avoiding sugar and processed starch, but you are no longer treating your body like a machine that needs the same setting every day. Here's the whiteboard version. Traditional keto says, keep carbs very low every day. Hormone-aware keto says, keep insulin low most of the time, but support the body when hormones, thyroid, sleep, training, or stress demand a different signal. That is a major difference. For many women, the foundation should be protein first, not fat first. Protein first. At each meal, think eggs, fish, chicken, turkey, beef, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tofu, or tempeh if you tolerate soy. Then add non-starchy vegetables for fiber and minerals. Then add healthy fat for satiety. Fat is useful, but if weight loss is the goal, you do not need to pour extra fat on everything. Your body already has stored fat it can learn to use. Now the carbs become strategic. On low-stress days, you may feel great with 20 to 40 grams of net carbs from vegetables, avocado, nuts, seeds, and berries. But during the late luteal phase, after a poor night of sleep, after a hard strength workout, or during perimenopause when sleep and mood are more fragile, you may do better with 50 to 80 grams of carbs from slow, whole food sources. That might be half a sweet potato at dinner, a small bowl of berries with Greek yogurt, lentils, squash, carrots, beets, or a small portion of quinoa if your blood sugar handles it well. Notice what we are not doing. We are not using carbs as comfort food. We are using carbs as a metabolic tool. This matters because research on menstrual cycle energy intake shows that some women naturally experience higher energy intake in the luteal phase, and research on PCOS suggests ketogenic diets may improve weight, insulin resistance, and certain hormone markers. But the best approach still needs individualization. So here is a simple protocol. For 2 weeks, follow clean keto. Protein, vegetables, healthy fats, no sugar, no flour, no snacking unless truly needed. Then, for the 5 to 7 days before your period, add 1 small serving of slow carbs at dinner and watch what happens to sleep, cravings, mood, workouts, and weight trend. If your cravings calm down, your sleep improves, and you stay consistent. That is not failure. That is feedback. A woman's keto plan should reduce insulin without creating chronic stress. That is the sweet spot. The last piece is this. Before you decide that keto is not working, ask which hormone pattern your body is showing. Because 2 women can eat the same keto meal and have completely different reasons for slow results. One woman may be dealing with insulin resistance. Her fasting glucose may look normal, but fasting insulin may be high. She may carry more weight around the middle, feel sleepy after meals, crave starch at night, or struggle with PCOS symptoms. For this woman, keto can be a powerful tool because it reduces the glucose and insulin load coming into the body. Recent systematic reviews and meta-analyses in women with PCOS suggest ketogenic diets may improve body weight, insulin resistance, and some reproductive hormone markers, although the quality of evidence and long-term sustainability still matter. Another woman may not have a major insulin problem. Her issue may be undereating, poor sleep, too much fasting, high stress, low thyroid signaling, or perimenopause. If she keeps pushing stricter keto, longer fasting, and harder workouts, her body may not respond with more fat loss. It may respond with fatigue, cravings, poor sleep, constipation, cold hands, and stubborn weight. So here is a simple functional medicine way to think about it. Do not only ask, am I in ketosis? Ask, is my metabolism safe, nourished, and hormonally supported? That means your keto plan should include enough protein, enough minerals, enough sleep, and enough recovery. It also means checking the right markers if you feel stuck. Talk with your healthcare provider about labs like fasting insulin, A1C, fasting glucose, triglycerides, HDL, liver enzymes, TSH, free T4, free T3, thyroid antibodies if symptoms are present, vitamin D, ferritin, B12, and for women with irregular cycles or PCOS signs, androgen markers like total testosterone, free testosterone, DHEAS, and SHBG. Then track real-life signals for 4 weeks: sleep, hunger, cravings, cycle symptoms, waist measurement, energy, bowel movements, and strength in workouts. This is where the magic happens. You stop guessing, you start listening. A woman's keto plan should not be built around punishment. It should be built around communication. Lower insulin when insulin is the problem. Add strategic carbs when stress, sleep, thyroid, or cycle symptoms suggest your body needs support. Build muscle. Protect sleep, eat enough protein, use fasting carefully. That is not weak keto. That is intelligent keto. So let's bring this together. Women may lose weight slower on keto because female metabolism is not controlled by one switch. Insulin matters, but insulin is only one part of the conversation. Estrogen affects insulin sensitivity and fat storage. Progesterone can shift hunger, cravings, sleep, and energy needs before your period. Thyroid hormones help decide how fast your cells use fuel, and cortisol, sleep, liver function, muscle mass, and stress all influence whether your body feels safe enough to release stored fat. That is why the answer is not always go stricter. Sometimes the smarter answer is better protein, more minerals, more sleep, strength training, cleaner food quality, a shorter fasting window, or one small serving of slow carbs at the right time of the month. Remember this simple framework: lower insulin, support hormones, protect thyroid signaling, build muscle, and listen to your cycle. If you are still having regular cycles, track your hunger, mood, cravings, sleep, and weight trend across the month. If the late luteal phase is your hardest week, consider a small serving of slow carbs at dinner for 5 to 7 days before your period. If you are in perimenopause or menopause, focus even more on protein, strength training, blood sugar stability, and sleep. Your body is not broken. It may simply need a different metabolic strategy than it did 10 or 20 years ago. So here is your challenge. Try just one change today. Add more protein to your first meal. Take a walk after dinner. Track your cycle symptoms. Or replace processed keto snacks with real whole foods for 1 week. And if this video added value, like it, subscribe, and watch the next video on the end screen so you can keep building a healthier metabolism naturally, one practical step at a time.